10 Anime of September 2022. Vermeil in Gold. Vermeil in Gold is a story of a failing student and the strongest courage plunged into the world of magic. At the Ortigia Academy of Magic, Alto must summon and form a contract with a familiar, or else he will held back a grade. He had failed the summoning spell before, but he finds an old book and performs the spell within, summoning a naked demon girl named Vermeil. She attempts seducing him, but he refuses and makes her wear her sister's dress and shoes. When he presents her to the class as his familiar, she conceals her horns and tail to pass for a human. Alto's childhood friend, Lilia, becomes jealous and challenges them to a duel. If she wins, Vermeil will stay away from Alto, and if he wins, she will obey one command from him. Alto orders Lilia to be friends with Vermeil. Later, Vermeil tells Alto that Lilia is in love with him. The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. Toru Kirishima is a 28-year-old lieutenant for the Sakuragi Yakuza, known as Sakuragi's demon for his brutality. After letting a business meeting descend into a fight, his employer, Kazuhiko Sakuragi, decides to teach him responsibility and makes Kirishima guardian for his 7-year-old daughter, Yeika. Kirishima has no experience of children, so he takes his frustration out of his long-suffering subordinate, Kei Shigihara. While walking Yeika to school, they are followed by men from the meeting, but Kirishima is able to beat them without Yeika noticing. Yeika becomes noticeably sadder even when visited by her aunt Kanami. Worried, Kirishima searches her room and finds an invitation for parents to visit the school, and realizes, since Kanami has to work and Kazuhiko can't see him in public. Summertime rendering. Since the death of his parents, Shinpei Ajiro had lived with the Kufun family and their 2 daughters, Mio and Ushio. Although he then left his home island to continue his education in Tokyo, Shinpei returns after Ushio tragically drowns during the attempted rescue of a little girl. During the funeral, his best friend Yun informs him about the bruises found around Ushio's neck, casting doubt over the cause of her death. Suspecting a murder has taken place, Shinpei re-evaluates recent events, but strange incidents only continue to transpire. Disappearing people and other unexplainable occurrences lead Mio to recall an old folktale referring to entities called shadows, which may not be entirely fantasy. Supposedly, an encounter with one's shadow foretells the person's impending demise. Facing the dark side of Hitogashima Island, Shinpei stands against his grin, fate to fulfill Ushio's final will, to protect Mio. Summertime Rending is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Yasuki Tanaka. Summertime Rendering is a nice change of scenery in the first half of the anime, but watchers will find an anime full of negative feelings, regret, despair, desire, and sadness as they become immersed in the plot. The plotline is uniquely written, and artwork is a dark and gritty, perfect for thrill-seeking fans. Engage Kiss. Sue is a young man living in Bayron City who runs such a company, but his company is tiny. His life, both publicly and privately, is being supported by the beautiful high school girl, Kisara, who attends a school in Bayron City. At the root of Kisara's strong attachment to Sue is a contract signed between them. Engaged Kiss is a good story, plus fine animation, plus okay characters divided by people who have no idea what are they doing. The key to its success is a new type of fuel, and the production of the said fuel is only possible, you guessed it right, the Barren City. However, the success of the Barren City also hides a secret. For some reason, because of the new type of fuel, a number of demons appear all over the city, where our protagonist Shaw and his demon partner Kisara live. What are those secrets exactly, and why is Shaw so desperate to eradicate all the demons? And now it's your turn to find out. Shadow House. Shadow House is a manga by Sumato, author of Kuro. Starting out as a slice of life story, but gradually accumulating more elements of mystery and horror as it goes on. It follows Imiliko, a young and cheerful doll who serves living Shadow Kate. Unlike most mangas, Shadow House is colorized. The faceless family of Shadow Nobles live in a vast mansion, attended by living dolls who spend much of their time cleaning up the suit endlessly imitated by their mysterious masters. As one of these dolls, in addition to being their maid, Imiliko is expected to become Kate's face. One of their mistress is old enough to be introduced to the other residents of the mansion. Imiliko believes that all she needs to do is work hard and make Kate happy. But things in the mansion aren't that simple or pleasant. The living dolls are actually children who lost their memories. The Shadow take them to the noble house where undeveloped morphs will observe them until one gets attached to one kid. The morph will mimic the appearance of the child to form its basic shape. My Stepmom's Daughter is my ex. Mizuto and Yumi are a former couple who enjoyed a relationship in junior high school, but became more and more irritated at each other and used their graduation as an opportunity to break up. But on the day before entering high school, the two reunite in the most unlikely way, with their parents announcing a marriage, with Mizuto and Yumi now becoming step-siblings. Wanting to prioritize their parents' relationship, the two promise not to fool around with each other, establishing a rule where the first one get to arouse loses. Irido Yumi is the main female protagonist in the Churikano series and the former girlfriend of Mizuto. Her former surname was Ai, but changed into Irido after her mother remarried into Irido's family. She moves into with her ex-boyfriend Mizuto Irido. When their parents remarried, she loves reading, especially mystery novels. She used to be quite introverted and shy as he tried to socialize and became famous after entering high school. Classroom of the Elite. The story follows the perspective of Kiyotaka Ayano Koji, a quiet and unassuming boy who is not good at making friends and would rather keep his distance, but possesses unrivaled intelligence. He is a student of Class D. which is where the school dumps its inferior students. Ayanokuji display of his intellect was when he figured out the plan of Class 1A and Class 1C during the same test. He was a skilled master in the art of manipulation, knowing which people are scheming and who he could use to get the game to run in his favor, eventually winning the test of his class. Kei Kurizawa do seem to end up as a couple in the classroom of elite. They confess each other's love to one another and they end up being very close, even kissing in the later volumes of the light novel series. And trivia, Ayano Konoji can destroy an elevator with a kick.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Call of the Night. Ku Yamori is an average middle school student who struggles with grasping the complex concept of love. Because he sees little sense in surrendering to the norm, he soon stops going to school, plagued with insomnia due to his idleness. Ko begins roaming the Ronsan streets at night. One night, Ko encounters a bizarre girl named Nazuna, who believes that people stay awake during the night because they are dissatisfied with how they spend their day and cannot rest until they release their inhibitions. Nazuna offers to help Ko with his sleep issues and invites him over to her place, where she convinces him to share a photon with her. Feeling uncomfortable, Ko only pretends to doze off, which is when Nazuma suddenly bites his neck and reveals herself to be a vampire. While Ko thinks the bite will turn him into a vampire, the specifics of transforming are not that simple. In order to change, he must be bitten by someone he truly loves. Liquors Recoil. The number of terrorist acts in Japan has never been lower, thanks to the efforts of a syndicate called Direct Attack. The organization raises orphan girls as killers to carry out assassinations under their licorice program. Takina Inoue is an exceptional licorist with a strong sense of purpose and a penchant for perfection. Unfortunately, a hostage situation tests her patience, and the resulting act of insubordination leads to her transfer out of DA. Not thrilled about losing the only place she belonged to, she reluctantly arrives at her new base of operations, Liko Reko, a cafe in disguise. Takina's new partner, however, turns out to be quite different from what she imagined. Despite being the famed licorice protege, Chisato is determined to prove to her that there is more to a life than just taking them. Overlord. An office worker in a dystopian world logs into a video game for the last time, only to find out that he, along with his entire guild, has been transported to another reality. An online role-playing game takes on a reality of its own after its servers permanently shut down. Trap the only remaining logged-in player as his fearsome lich character who struggles to maintain the fragile balance between the world's races. A fun supernatural military flick with great looking action and even better looking gory faces, Overlord will definitely satiate your action horror craving. The main protagonist is evil And that's what I like in this series. But he also has a good side of him, which thinks like human, the way he was before he got stuck in this game. He loves his NPCs a lot, as if they were his kids. This show is full of thriller, action, strategy, politics, and a bit comedy.